the professor's got a big boy for us.
The biggest, stupidest thing of the week, which is NBA, the big one on PS5 and Xbox and whatever, was released. They released a WNBA version, and Angel Reese is on the cover. Now, I don't know about you guys and how much you play video games, but I actually played this game with the kid last night, and we had to play a game to 11 like you would at
you were playing WNBA video game?
Oh, my God.
We had to play the version to 11 like the rec league game because we didn't have time to start like a season. And playing Angel Reese as a WNBA character, game to 11, it took us 4.5 hours before 11 playing Angel Reese WNBA game. When I played the Angel Reese team, I was 9 of 75 on the floor, and that was a good shooting night.
Did they show an actual ball or just a brick on the video game? I would imagine
He just has a brick.
Just depicted as a brick. Yeah.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Defo Show. The smiling gentleman over there is Mike Lubie Lubitz, and there's a good reason for that. And it's not because of the anticipated arrival, the greatly anticipated arrival of one Luca Panici Lubitz, but tomorrow is a big day, Lubie, and I know you're all excited about it. You were amplifying your enthusiasm for the show and for this business, for this job.
Yes.
Because tomorrow we will begin officially, Mike Lubie Lubitz, how many years? 15 years of doing this.
Yes, I'm very serious.
Mike Lubie Lubitz Training Camp Chronicles.
It's a real deal. I hate training camp. I
tell you what, man, they're really struggling at wide receiver if Waddle goes down.
Oh, my God.
What can you possibly say about this shit? It was always great. Now, I enjoyed certain aspects of going out and training camp coverage, but not much of it, I have to say. In the very beginning, I guess it was sort of fascinating to me. When I first came to Miami, I had done a little bit of training camp coverage for the Ontario Daily Distort when I was writing for that newspaper, that fabled afternoon newspaper, a great publication, Inland Empire Special. And it would be dispatched to the Rams training camp when they opened up. And at that time, Ray Malavasi was the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams. Not exactly one of those personalities that you're thinking, man, this will be a quote machine, this guy. Oddly, Bob Brzezinski, I remember Bob Brzezinski showing up as the number 1 draft pick of the Rams that particular year. And you couldn't get anything out of Brzezinski. He turned out to be, I mean, he's a really good guy. We got to know him more, probably through the restaurant business than we did when he was a Miami Dolphin. But he was very distant and quiet and reserved as a number 1 pick. You don't get the flamboyance that you get out of number 1 picks today. At least you didn't so much back then. They kind of suppressed that back in that period of time. And this is probably circa 1980. I don't remember the exact year that Brew was the number 1 pick of the Rams, but there wasn't a whole lot of excitement being generated. They practiced. They did not have any fancy facility, so this predated all of these new stadiums and everything. I would imagine that when you see Sean McVay lining up for practice, they're not practicing out in some cow pasture somewhere. But I believe they practiced at that time. And this also, I guess, predated all teams having their own facilities where they were using colleges and things like that. I think they were at some local college, and that's where they practiced. So there was nothing particularly spectacular about it. And then I could not have been more excited, Lubie, than when I went on my very first assignment out to Dolphins training camp to meet, and I can hear it in my head as I was driving out there. Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. I mean, imagine my excitement going from Ray Malavasi to thinking I was going to get a chance to talk to the great Don Shula, the vaunted Don Shula. And we had all watched when we were New Yorkers, Miami Dolphin games with a certain amount of envy. You never really experienced this because when they were playing at the Orange Bowl and you were freezing your ass off in New York City watching football, and the Jets had various levels of success in that period of time. Of course, they were really good in 1969, but up and down, even though Joe Willie was an attraction. And they always were exciting in terms of their passing game. And they had good running backs, too, right? I mean, Boozer and Snell, are they maybe among the most underrated tandem of running backs in NFL history. Is that a fair statement, Lubie?
They definitely worked well together.
Matt Snell was a hard-nosed SOB, and he could catch passes out of the backfield. And Emerson Boozer was one of those slasher types that also had a lot of strength. You never hear them talked about as a running tandem unless you go back to some old NFL films thing and you see the '69 Super Bowl. And other than that, you don't hear a lot about those guys. So they really had a potent offense with all kinds of weapons. Pete Lamons was a great tight end. And it was a lot of fun. But we used to watch these Dolphin games, and you had Flipper in that pool in the open end of the Orange Bowl, palm trees swaying, everybody schwitzing. And all you could think about, Lubie, is, man, someday I want to get down there and watch this team play. So I get my shot there. I go out there for the first time, a very green Defo. I wasn't even Defo at that point in time. I think I was still being referred to by my regular name. Hey, it's Jeff DeForest. And I just gotten a job at 940 Winds, my first real job in town. And went out there, and I can't ever forget. I swore I was low in Miami, and you know how it is. I guess this still persists today, where a street is one thing for a certain number of miles, and then it just changes into another street.
Yes.
You're on Hollywood Boulevard, and then all of a sudden it's something else.
And there's a lot of one way in Miami, especially. There's a lot of one way that it doesn't always say that it's one way. You sort of have to know.
Yeah, I mean, where was St. Thomas University in relation to Carroll City? Wasn't that far away, was it? Because the studios were in Carroll City. Oh, very nice studio in the middle of what wasn't exactly an upscale neighborhood. You would have to
hood. Carroll City is the hood.
Get myself in any jacket.
No, it's fine, but yes, it's Carroll City. It's well known.
All right, so I leave Carroll City, and I'm trying to find the St. Thomas, which was also, it seems to me, sort of west there. And you talk about, I mean, I nearly turned around, Lubie. I found a place eventually. This preceded GPS and stuff where you could just pop it in your car, and only a moron could get lost, unless, of course, somehow there was a little kink in the communications, and they sent you to parts unknown instead of the destination you were looking for. But I couldn't believe what a dump this place was. I mean, like I said, the Rams were unspectacular in terms of their facility, and I would imagine that was the case with many NFL teams. Hell, are the Jets still practicing at like Hofstra or something like that?
I think they will, yeah.
How cheap is Woody Johnson? He can't build these guys a facility?
I don't know. And maybe
but they play in New Jersey now, so that they practice still on Long Island? That seems like it would be a bit bizarre, doesn't it?
I think so. I don't know.
I'll have to check that out. But and they practiced 3 times a day back then, Lubie. Can you even for a second conceive of a second workout in this heat?
Oh, Jesus. No way.
I did my walk of life in the dead of the afternoon yesterday. I mean, literally, walk of the living dead.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees out. I don't mind. I kind of dig that because I can drink more beers and justify them and rationalize it away. Even though, the little paunch is probably an indicator that maybe I should cut down on it.
Yeah.
But, and then I went out and played the Alzheimer's Cup last night with Dr. Jerry.
Nice.
And even though I was fully hydrated, whatever, and I didn't, I was schwitzing a lot last night, but I wasn't exactly like busting my butt. Because Dr. Jerry's game, unfortunately, has deteriorated to the level where you're playing against an immobile object.
Oh, Jesus.
You could hang a heavy bag on the other side of the court.
Oh, no.
And if you don't aim for him, you're probably going to score the point. But that being said, I'm cramping up like a maniac when I got home. I couldn't believe hands are cramping, hamstrings, everything. And I thought, wow, I mean, how did those guys do 3 workouts a day? I don't care what kind of shape you're in, Libby. And that was like run-of-the-mill stuff. Did they also play 6 preseason games at that time? Yes. I think they did.
Yeah.
Early 80s, 1981, 82.
Yep.
That's insane, huh? So training camp had some meaning then, though, because there were discussions of battle for position, and Shula used to sit down and eat lunch with everybody. It was crazy.
Mm.
He would sit at a table, and the reporters, can you imagine Nick Saban doing this? The reporters were welcome.
Yeah.
Well, Saban would be more like a Trumpian philosophy, where the hand-picked reporters were the welcome ones, and But Shula would just sit there and shoot the breeze with you for like 45 minutes in between a couple of the practices, and he actually would answer questions and even get involved in like some little bit of personal stuff. So he was pretty cool. So I thought that was great, but it's not like that anymore. I do remember a few significant things. Do you remember anything? Do you retain anything that you've ever derived from being at Dolphins training camp at any time in your broadcasting career?
I mean, I remember storylines. I don't know. I don't remember anything that happened in camp that actually took hold in a good way in the regular season. I remember, look, I've been to the desert in Israel. I've been to the desert in Morocco. I've been to the desert in Arizona. I'm born and raised in South Florida. I've never been as hot as when I remember being on the practice field. And it's morning. It's like late morning nowadays because they don't do 2 days. They don't do 3 days. And they do the bulk of it in the morning because of how hot it is. And I remember just being there and like 10 of us are trying to talk to Ryan Tannehill and the sweat is just billowing. It's not beating. It's coming. Yeah. And it's like, he's not going to say, it's Ryan Tannehill. I know he's not going to say anything, but we have to get some kind of stupid ass sound. And I remember the storyline of the day of that camp was because we went like every day to that camp. And it was like, and we were doing live shows, and the storyline, they had just brought in Mike Wallace, and it was like Tannehill sucked at the deep ball. Now they found the deep ball guy, and then he couldn't connect with Mike Wallace. Oh. So that was like the big, people were like, oh my God, it's not that he's not good at it. It doesn't have the arm. They didn't think of the arm for it. It's now he's overthrowing. It's like, how do you overthrow Mike Wallace?
I remember that. The big joke was that Ryan Tannehill could overthrow a small country. It's the fastest MF you could find at the time in the National Football League. I mean, this guy's like a raw sprinter.
Yes.
It was like bringing in Bullet Bob Hayes when that was seemingly an ill-conceived idea. And we didn't know if Hayes could catch. Certainly Skeets Nehemiah put a damper on the idea of just who was the other guy? Hines? Was he a defensive back? That came into the league and actually was pretty good. Bullet Bob Hayes, of course, ended up being a standout receiver. Yep. But he did one thing, whoosh, fly pattern, and that was it. Yes. You weren't seeing Bullet Bob Hayes run a button hook over the middle and get smashed. Skeets Nehemiah was horrendous. I mean, he had the hands of stone. It was Roberto Duran. Manos to Piedro. So I guess you could see some of this in training camp. I remember seeing Chris Chambers make a sensational catch the first day of training camp one year, and I thought, wow, that guy's going to be great. What a second-round pickup. He didn't turn out to be as productive as that day would have indicated. But he wasn't bad. Yeah, Chris Chambers. I remember a prominent Dolphins lineman whose name escapes me, but they were naturally hurting, as they have been for the last 50 years, at offensive line ever since Kuchenberg retired. And I remember seeing this guy like doing nothing. He's running around a couple of cones. And he tears an ACL out for the season.
Jesus.
Jimmy Johnson used to come over and feed us information that was routinely, totally 100% false, where he would start expounding on the virtues of some guy that you never heard of and telling you how great he was, and then he would cut the guy the next day.
Yeah.
And we were all excited. Like Joe Rosegoli and me were sitting there going, oh, my God, wow, we got some inside information here from Jimmy. And the next day, you'd see the guy go into his car, but while you were pulling in with a duffel bag over his shoulder, and like, well, wasn't that the guy Jimmy was saying was going to be great? That he's blowing everybody's mind in training camp. All right, so I did a little research on this, Lubie. You'll find this surprising because I was trying to find some reason for optimism for the Miami Dolphins season. Everybody seems to be down on it. What did Dave Hyde say? Did he say 7-10? Scoop was like 7-10. Hyde might have been 8-9. These are the kind of numbers that you don't even want to bother watching the whole season for.
No, especially year 4. You're supposed to have been building. You started with back-to-back playoffs, right? They made the playoffs 2 years in a row. That was the big thing. Then last year you go backwards, and you're 8-9. You don't want to be hovering around mediocre again. Like, this is year 4 of this regime.
Yeah. I guess we should also mention our interview with Joe Philbin and Kevin Coyle. That was a highlight, though. I mean, what an honor to think that the whole defensive staff of the Miami Dolphins were listening to our show.
That's funny.
And they're driving in at like 6 a.m. to begin what is going to be a 24-hour session there at the training camp.
Yeah.
and they're spending most of their meeting doing impressions of you and me. That was one of the great honorable highlights of I think anybody's career. I mean,
That was
imagine
classic.
that they sit down. It was just like when Ordway and Merlone and Christian Fourier did the impression of our show. So there must have been something to it. Why did they ever let us go, Libby? I mean, we had captured the imagination of virtually everybody, but those were highlights. And of course, I hate confrontational stuff. And we say a lot of things, and we're being facetious, and we're trying to get a laugh. We're trying to entertain people. We try not to say anything that's overly insulting about anybody because we really mean no harm. I mean, if we're saying we're not sitting here and we're going to go on for 45 minutes about what a garbage piece of crap this guy,
No.
unless you're talking about politics,
Yeah, well,
it's not applicable. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's playing a game. So if he's not as good as you think he should be, I mean, all right. Well, what do you want to do? Did you play any pro ball? Would always be the comeback. That was unfair when they used to ask Hank Goldberg if he played any pro ball, because obviously he did.
yeah, who cares? I never got that. Like again, maybe if you want to be a color analyst on a game, fine. But like to just talk about it, like anyone can just talk about anything. Like,
Yeah. It's like Andy says, you probably knew everything you needed to know about sports and how to play it by the time you were 5 years old, just instinctively. And if you were any good, then you have a certain understanding about why guys miss shots or drop passes, whatever, routes and the way they should be run, coverage, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, and I don't believe that the game is as sophisticated as people try to make you believe. Is that fair to say, Lubie? Because all of this technical stuff, I mean, you got these guys, Orlovsky, and they're analyzing Greg Cosell, breaking all these games down. You got, who's the other guy? On ESPN, they got the two guys. The one guy was a former GM. You got Ryan Clark. I mean, he's definitely.
Tannenbaum? Not Tannenbaum.
Well, no, Tannenbaum. I mean, has zero credibility. You would have.
Tannenbaum. What's another GM?
Any guy that buried a couple of teams. I mean, you're thinking to yourself, how could he possibly be critical of another GM? Well, you might have been the worst in history. You mentioned Mike Wallace. That was his big move, right?
Yes,
Turned out to be all Dolly Parton, Bustology 101. I don't know that anybody was saying that when they were covering training camp. So, what can we deduce from this? Who's the other guy, though, that's always on? He was a former GM, and I mean, he does some of the games as a color analyst. He was on that Monday Night Football crew, I think, last week. Why can't I remember this guy's name? It's crazy. I can envision the guy. Well, because I'm old, that's why. But you have no excuse. I mean, you will watch a lot of ESPN. Anyway, I mean, how sophisticated can it possibly be? I mean, basically got a bunch of guys running around crashing into each other, and that's. What do you think, Libby? I mean, so what do we zero in on? The optimistic note was that the Dolphins' offense figures to be potent once again with a healthy Tua. And they mentioned Tyreek Hill, which hasn't he come under some suspicion as to whether or not he's anywhere close to what we think he should be in terms of his accomplishments from just a couple of years ago. He was a dynamic force. Last year it wasn't the case, and he keeps doing this Meshuggah stuff off the field. There's always something bizarre going on with this guy. He's punching a fisherman. His house catches fire. I mean, not that couldn't happen to anybody. The punching a fisherman, you should be able to control, but it just seems like crap happens to him. He gets arrested last year. That would have been good if it happened during training camp. I would have given somebody,
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind that it happened in the first game of the regular season. I mean, how pathetic is that? You would figure the Dolphins might be able to have a better handle on the people that are working security around the stadium, even if it's like a local cop. That they might have some instructions out there saying, hey, listen, we got tickets for you and your family, but don't be busting our players, throwing them to the cement because you don't like the fact that their windows are heavily tinted. And you should at least have like a roster so you could recognize who the players are before you start beating the crap out of them before they get to the stadium. Well, I mean, 7 other large black guys are looking on that popped out of the car, and this cop can't deduce that might be a Dolphin player. That's pretty incredible. I mean, talk about lacking identity. But that was the big thing, that they have A-Chain at running back, an explosive running back, that they have Waddle and Tyreek Hill and a healthy Tua who averaged 24 points a game when he was healthy. So what do you think? Is that enough to go more than 8 and 9? Well, What would your
I don't trust their line at all, and that's what's going to eventually get Tua killed. The Jonnu Smith was a big part of the offense. They didn't. I know they brought in this dude with the 3 names, and he had a lot of touchdowns. I don't know if he's going to be the big receiver that they've been thirsting for. That Jonnu Smith actually did a good job of being last year. The defensive line is always hurt. It's loaded with guys that produce when they're on the field. They're never on the field. And we're waiting on both Phillips and Chubb to come back from major injuries. So who always get hurt again. So I don't know what to do with that. The linebacking core is not good. And the secondary, they don't have a starting corner right now.
Yeah,
Supposedly,
I thought.
Cam Smith is going to be interesting, but he was like 3rd or 4th dude last year. He didn't even get on the field a lot. And they're supposedly talking to Rasul Douglas, the former Packers corner who's good and not actually that old and not injured a lot, but they haven't signed him yet. So there's just a lot of question marks for year 4 when you started the first 2 years going to the playoffs. So, I mean, everyone knows how I feel. I think Greer every year proves me right. Like the same to end the year with issues and then start the next year with the same issues is the backup quarterback. You bring in Zach Wilson. Okay, so he's a project guy behind your quarterback that you're trying to make the dude. Wouldn't you bring just a solid veteran when you had Andy Dalton out there, when you had Marcus Murray, guys that know how to come in, win games, and then get the hell out of the way? No, they don't do that. So, like, again, the same question.
I don't have an objection, though, with bringing in a Hacker.
I don't know. I don't know if he's a backup.
Hasn't prospered, but still, I mean, is he completely out of potential?
I don't know. But that's not your job, right? Your job in year 4, when you know you should have been fired in year 3, is to win now. It's not to, well, in those 4 games, we're going to make Zach Wilson a starting quarter. You know, like that feels like a weird priority.
What if he beats out Tua in training camp? That would be a story.
Yeah, I don't think they're even going to allow it.
All right, so what will the focal point of your first training camp chronicles possibly be? The pessimism that you're expressing?
That what
I mean, Sam Darnold didn't blossom right away. He ended up having a really good year last year for the most part with Minnesota. Until he started doing a euchre. Hey, a little outside. He was throwing everything high and wide there when the money was on the table. And that was rather unfortunate and sort of diminished the accomplishments he had, where he was bordering on spectacular during the regular season. But that came after a series of years where I'm not sure that he had failure quite to the level of Hack Wilson. But, I mean, he wasn't great, that's for sure. Jets got rid of him. He sort of was a journeyman vagabond for a little while and then ended up catching on there. He caught a break in Minnesota. Cam Ward, by the way, did you see? Will Levis out for the year.
Yeah.
Now, they were in all likelihood going to start Cam Ward right away anyway. Would you say that's probably the way that was going to go? Well, why would you have a number 1 pick? Are you going to play Will Levis?
No. They drafted him 1. I mean, he's starting.
Going to start. Okay, so now he's starting, and I think it's what's Boyle's first name? He was here with the Dolphins. He was with the Jets. I believe he's their backup quarterback now. So can you imagine? This guy's like one play away from being the starter for Tennessee. And that would be complete ruination, would it not? All right. So anyway, anything around the NFL? Jerry started popping off already. He's already insulted his top players. Anybody that's in a contract negotiation with Jerry Jones, he always feels compelled to insult before the contract is signed. And then he goes ahead and gives them a boatload of money anyway. Look what happened with Dak Prescott. Remember? And that was dragging on forever, Louis. It was a big story every day. ESPN, is Dak going to get his money? And they'd go to Jerry, and Jerry said, well, you know what? He actually pulled a Shanahan when asked about Micah Parsons' contract extension negotiations. Parsons is in the 5th year of his rookie contract. It's not like he's making peanuts, but commensurate with his productivity on the field, you would have to say, and what guys are getting now, he's going to be underpaid going into this season. Probably not the greatest way to approach it if you're Jerry Jones. And then he always opens up his mouth and says something that's totally insulting to the guy. He pulled a Shanahan yesterday and said, well, I mean, when you're considering giving out this kind of money, you don't know if the guy's going to get hit by a car tomorrow.
He gives out tons of money to everyone. They just gave CeeDee Lamb a big deal. They gave
Prescott got an enormous
a big deal. Like they gave Zeke Elliott, a running back who was not durable, a big deal. Like, what is he talking about?
He's acting very coy about this thing, saying, well, you know what? I'll make that decision. Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars, used to tell us all the time, and I guess this holds up almost universally, that unless you're a Dolphin,
Yeah.
that nothing gets done until it's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
If you're playing, and this is why I want Stephen Ross to buy a streaming service so we can work for him, because you could do no wrong with this guy.
Oh man.
You can have the worst season of your life, have multiple off the field incidents that embarrass the ball club, and before your contract is even close, I mean, like not even halfway through, Stephen Ross calls you and goes, "How about some more money? There you go. Here's another $100 million. We want to make sure you're a Dolphin for life." Holy Larry Zonka, what are we talking about? Unbelievable. I mean, if Joe Robbie operated this way, Zonka would still be playing. He'd be on one of those Bobby Bonilla contracts, or gets $1 million a year for the next 58 years. Be incredible. All right, so that's happening. Training camp, and people go crazy over like the most minute of things. Preseason games. Do we take anything or derive anything from preseason games? It was clear last year that at least in our hometown, the Miami Dolphins were sorely lacking at the backup quarterback position. That became beyond painfully obvious. If it wasn't obvious to Chris Greer and McDaniel going into training camp, once they started playing these preseason games, you were thinking, holy crap. If Tua goes down, and sure enough, that's what happened, and they were completely inept at the backup quarterback position, you were hoping that maybe Don Strock would come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Come in there. So, all right, the Dolphins crank up tomorrow. The Cowboys already immersed in controversy. The Tennessee Titans already without what was their starting quarterback last year, but they do have, you would have to think, a more than certainty that, or it would be more than certain that Cam Ward was going to replace this guy anyway. Will Levis didn't do much to impress you, did he?
He's horrendous.
Horrendous. Wow, one of the worst in the league.
Yes, he turned the ball over a great deal.
All right, so where do we stack up? Let's just look at it from this standpoint here. If you were going to look at the AFC East, Buffalo, class by themselves, is that still true?
I mean, yeah, because I don't think I think the Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins did things. I don't know if they did things that make them more playoff ready. And the Bills, look, last year when we thought they took a step back, they charged through. So I think they've gotten in this place where they'll coast with that division. And I don't know what will happen with them in the rest of the AFC. That would be their thing.
Jets don't scare me. I'll tell you why. I don't know how much of a Justin Fields fan I am. I keep going back to this thought, and I can't get away from it. That Justin Fields, who was showing all of his promise and looked like he was an emerging quarterback, then ends up in Pittsburgh and gets beaten out by what appeared to be a washed-up Russell Wilson, who actually started out and was a positive factor, but then faded back to being the guy that we saw running around in Denver, where you thought, wow, this guy's lost it completely.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is Justin Fields a guy that gets you overly excited about if you're a Jet fan? I mean, they do have, obviously, they just doled out a ton of cash there. Woody may not want to pay for a practice facility, but he certainly was willing to pay for his wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner, the defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I don't know, where does Fields leave them? What do you think? I mean,
I liked Fields a lot coming out of college. He's been a disaster. Now, a lot of people say it's the coaching, or they didn't put in Chicago, they didn't put the kind of offense around him that you need. He's a guy that can run with a strong arm. So you need to devise an offense for him, and they sort of try to force him into their offense, and it never worked. Is it just a place to fix it? I don't know. He has a lot of natural physical ability, but he doesn't play the position well. He doesn't process things quickly. He holds on to the ball a very long time. He takes a lot of sacks. He turns the ball over a lot because he tries to make the big play every friggin' play, and then he runs way too much. He just has the issues he came in to the league with are actually worse now. Like, they've gotten worse. He used to at least do the one read Ohio State thing where he'd get rid of the ball. Like, he doesn't. I mean, he just, and that's always the Ohio State thing where they hold on to too long. But
he showed some flashes when he was finishing up in Chicago.
He got a little better because they started putting the offense that would be best for him, so he was more comfortable. So he was running it a lot more, which is what he excels at. But again, as we know in this league, like, you're only able to run for so long. Like at some point, you have to be able to work in the pocket, and that's not his thing at all. Like he's not good at that, especially in the
All right.
NFL.
Over under on the Jets, I believe, is 5 and a hook. My friend Mike
That's about
Jones
right.
thinks they're going over this year, but if they do go over, I think it's by like a hook. What do they win? They go 6-11, the New York Jets. So you have the Bills. The Jets don't seem to be a threat. And is Mike Vrabel? I haven't really come to a conclusion on this yet. Is he the most overrated coach that came into a position this year, and not only among new head coaches, but the way that he was so highly coveted, supposedly, in the offseason? Decent record at Tennessee. Tennessee was no juggernaut, but they weren't terrible.
They went to a conference championship. They, I think, won the division. They went to the playoffs.
Yeah, he had a winning record of like 54-45 in a regular
They
season.
almost went to the playoffs almost every year until they went backwards. Like he's a solid coach, discipline and all that stuff. I don't know how much of an innovator he is, and I don't know how much he'll take a bad team and make like he went to Tennessee, which was an average team, and kept them above average. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what he'll do. Look, I think the Patriots may be better because Mayo just didn't know what he was doing.
How did that guy end up in a job? I mean, that's unbelievable.
He was there a while.
Would the Patriots be better off if they just kept Belichick all the way? And Robert Kraft put his ego aside and said, listen, I don't care that seemed like things have gone downhill a little bit. You got to get this guy's good. So why don't we keep him in a position? The Gerard Mayo thing turned out to be a disaster, as you said.
Yeah.
And then they had to go find a new guy right away, Mike Vrabel. But did they solve all of their problems? So where do they stand? Drake May
They'll be better.
wasn't bad last year. Wasn't great.
I can see them being like a 7-8 win team. I mean, I think they'll be better. I mean, May, the second half of the year, played a lot better. So maybe this year he starts working into form. And then maybe next year, I think the Patriots may be a little bit better than the Jets because I trust them to be a little bit more disciplined. Glenn has never been a head coach. I don't know what to expect from him, to be brutally honest. At least,
People seem to have great respect for him.
I think
look, you don't know what he's going to do. It's his first year there, but as a head coach in any capacity, so kind of interesting. All right, so where do we stack up? And I know we're kind of getting a little bit of a feel for the Chronicles here.
Yeah.
Buffalo wins what? Do they win 12 games, 12-5? Is that possible? And now you're kind of putting both the Dolphins and the Patriots in the same bag of 8-9.
Yeah, something like that.
And the Jets, you don't think a whole hell of a lot about.
6-7 wins.
They're that far behind the Patriots, the New York Jets.
I think they're all within. Look, I mean, those three teams I could see being within 2 games of each other. I don't know. Look, the Dolphins just have the established quarterback that when he's healthy, he's at least going to put up numbers, and they'll win about as much as they lose, which the Jets and right now the Patriots don't have. Say whatever you want about Tua. You don't want to call him top 6 to top 8 quarterback, fine. But when he's healthy, he puts up numbers like a top 6 to top 8 quarterback. Those other 2 guys don't do that. So he gives them that advantage to be the second best team, first worst. I think the Bills will win 12. I think the Dolphins will win 8 or 9. I think the Patriots win 7 or 8, and I think the Jets win 6 or 7. But they're all close. Like a game, they're all Yeah. You know, they have 3 decent defenses. The Jets can be really good at times, but they're not as good as people think they are. They're not this juggernaut defense. And they have offenses that should be improved, but I don't know if you can rely on them to win you games. And the Bills
seems like a pretty dull division, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems like the Bills are coast again. That's what it feels like.
All right, so there you have it. As great Gordon Soley would say, no reason to play the season. I mean, the training camp thing, though, they don't do anything anymore. They're like in arts and crafts in the afternoon. They get out there and they do some calisthenics, and you're watching guys lob balls back and forth. The quarterbacks are essentially doing nothing. The kickers are probably more active than some of the players are, and they're not involved with anything that's going on in the central part of the practice session. Is it all film study and meetings? I mean, is that all necessary to play football at a level of the National Football League that you're just sitting in a classroom all day trying to learn stuff? I mean, you see guys in those Hard Knocks things, they're falling asleep, they're passing out.
Yep.
They're showing up 20 minutes late. Yeah, interesting. I kind of wish Where would you be better off? If Mike McDaniel, could he possibly instill into himself a little bit of Dan Campbell-esque type of behavior, or is he going to be? I know. Look, we've talked to people that go out there on a daily basis, deal with this guy, and everybody says, "Oh no, it's great because he seems to be very amenable to being decent to the media." He tries to say things. I mean, you may need an interpreter to figure out. Hey, what are we talking about here? Hey, Nietzsche, can you explain that? Very cerebral approach. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if it's working. But is it time to just start kicking some ass? I mean, well, and can you do that? Can you come back from where he's been and all of a sudden be much more demanding of players? And do they have players that being demanding of what would even result in anything positive? There's my question. I'm going to go out there and ask McDaniel. Can you be more demanding of these guys, Michael?
I mean, we're going to try.
Should we go out there one day just as an experiment and do a show? I mean, what do you think?
It's just really hot. I've never been as hot as like even when you're in that tent.
It's TFH is what you say. Too effing hot.
Well, even when they put you in the tent, the upstairs with the overhang, and you have fans, it's still rough. Like, and I'm not saying people don't have harder jobs. It's not that. It's just it doesn't do anything for us. So for us to be like when you're hot doing your job, at least you're making money. I hope like we're doing the same thing with or without it. I don't, and it never. You're not wrong. Like even you went the days when they cared about camp, and I still don't know what you got out of it. Now it's literally
you see some drills and stuff. I mean,
they don't do anything.
Jimmy would take you out there and watch the Oklahoma drill, which was essentially a very draconian exercise. And I mean, you're talking old school football where it was kind of like being in a FAMU band, right? Being a fat tuba player in a FAMU band. Okay, Tony, get on a bus. You don't know what awaits you. But I mean, at least you're thinking, wow, this is some physical stuff.
Yes.
They did nothing when we were out there. And then that was it. They went off for lunch, signed a couple of autographs. Everybody's out there, maybe flying a little kite with some kid, and they go home. They're not. I don't know. Are they allowed to do anything? Now you have the 3 preseason games. Nobody plays in any of them. Yeah, it's crazy. But there's a lot of excitement just because it's around the corner. Is that strictly generated by gambling, or is there genuine excitement because it's a much better TV game than some of the stuff that we have offered right now? Like
you don't have anything. I mean, look, I get baseball's there, but baseball's not the game that people watch. And again, even when baseball was the sport, they was called the Dogs Days for a reason. Like July into August, the season starts to lag because you still have all the way to the end of September.
It's hard to follow. It really is. You're just sitting there going, oh yeah, they went 10 in a row. That's nice.
And I love Sarni, but WNBA isn't.
WNBA doesn't do it for me.
Holding our attention. So that's the thing. These are 2 weeks where like you feel not baseball. You feel football coming. Like when they start doing camp and they show this and the signings and the holdouts and you start to get your juices going, even though it's really nothing. Like that's the problem is
Jerry making a fool of himself.
Like the Hall of Fame game comes on, you're like, oh, it's football. And then you're like, is it?
Is that the most atrocious sporting event? That'd be a good one. That'd be a topic for a discussion. The most meaningless, worthless sporting event. The Hall of Fame game would definitely be in the running to be in the vote, no?
Yeah, because it's not even good enough to be considered a preseason game. So the level of play that's already questionable, and nowadays preseason games, because they've made these joint practices their preseason, and we get to spend lots of money.
Yeah, and that was cool to cover during training camp.
Those are fine.
Dolphins used to always go against Tampa Bay.
Those are fine.
And Tony Dungy was a very gracious guy. He would sit down with you for like an hour. Chip Namias was, I believe, the Tampa Bay PR guy at one point in time after being with the Dolphins.
Okay.
He would bring over Dungy, and you'd go, wow, this is great, a real gentleman. So you had like Shula and Dungy on shows. It was pretty cool. It was actually better being there at night, like in the evening, than it was being out there in the early morning where the mosquitoes were the size of clinchers.
Yeah.
But we do have some baseball to discuss. We have some NBA observations from the Summer League, Lubie.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, Dalton Connect. What happened to this guy, man? See, now you could get on me about Dalton Connect as much as I gave you crap about Justice Winslow.
It's whatever. You weren't the only one.
Connect is my Winslow at this point.
People liked him, and what he's good at are the skills that should allow you to succeed in the NBA now. I mean, he's a nice ball handler. He's a good 3-point shooter. He plays hard. Like he should.
Shooting percentage in the summer league 27.9.
Oh, he hasn't been good. He had like one game last year where like, oh, look at him, and
He was outshot by Angel Reese. Incredible.
I don't know, actually, even at those numbers. He's just hasn't turned into anything. They tried to trade him. That trade didn't go through because of the other guy. So they ended like they still want him. And
what was that guy's name? Walker? Or was it the
Mark Williams?
Williams, yeah.
The big guy. They eventually did get traded this offseason.
Yeah.
Like, it's just I don't know what to do with him. Like he's already been
down him. Dr. Frank Jobe, I think he's dead. I mean,
I don't
how come he was okay now, but he wasn't okay to pass the physical with the Lakers? Maybe they went. Maybe they hired those guys with the Dolphins. That
exactly with Drew
we're
Brees.
looking at Drew Brees. Yeah, that might be one of the single franchise killers of all time.
It is
going without Drew Brees, and the guy goes on. I mean, he may never have accomplished what he did when he was with the New Orleans Saints, because a lot of people think that Sean Payton is a quarterback guru. All right, we'll come back with more. The Marlins went down 2-1 last night.
Stowers again.
Stowers had another homer?
Yeah.
Wow, what's he have? Like 20-something now, no? Stowers? And I remember talking to somebody last year that wasn't too impressed with Stowers.
No, the Orioles didn't mind getting rid of him. All the Orioles, he has 22 homers, batting almost 300, and with 60 RBIs.
Wow.
He's just on a heater. I mean, his numbers are fine. They're not elite. They're solid. It's just the last 2 weeks. He's
and one of the oddest occurrences that you'll ever see. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people feel like going to a baseball game. You may witness something that you've never seen before or haven't seen in forever. And it happened last night. So we'll get into that. All right, we'll be back with more. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz. I'm Jeff DeForest on a Tuesday, just breezing through some training camp chronicles. Tomorrow it begins with Lubie. We are going to demand of Lubie that he comes up with something, some nugget.
Okay, sure.
And maybe we can't, because we're not out there, maybe we don't limit it to just the Dolphins. So can you find a couple of items every day, or is that too much of an obligation to go ahead and throw? I don't care how meaningless they are, because it's all.
I can bitch about the Dolphins every day. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it's going to be trained.
We ought to expand our horizons on this, though, and give you all 32 teams to comment on.
Yeah, if you want me to bitch about every team, I can even do that.
Maybe we can sell the segment. Mike Lubie Lubitz's Training Camp Chronicles.
I mean, I can bitch about teams in the NFL. There's something with every team.
All right, good.
Going out there and having to stand there and watch nothing. That's the thing that's tough for me.
A new platform for you, Michael. It's good. With the kid coming along, you want to explore some new ideas. All right, we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that. Time now for Mike Lubie Lubitz's Training Camp Chronicles, brought to you by. Mm-hmm. All right, it is 8:50 already. Wow. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. Make the right choice for your home. Call Choice Mortgage today.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Did we just whiff on a golden opportunity to pay tribute to now the late Jimmy Swaggart?
Passed last week. I meant to bring it up, and then it never became a thing, so I left it alone.
Seemed like he'd been dead long before that. No,
That was the thing.
didn't
I
hear
was
much
like,
from him.
who knew?
Once he was banging his receptionist, redheaded chick. She wasn't bad looking either. Come on, Jimmy. Is that the only one? We don't know. Is he on the Epstein list? Maybe the files aren't being released out of respect to the dead.
There you go.
That's possible. But yeah, he checked out. Jimmy Swaggart, one of the all-time. I mean, you talk about scams, right? Is Osteen? Osteen probably has to take the cake now as the all-time.
Yeah, he owns like
Ernest Ainsley was my favorite, going way back. He looked like the Undertaker's manager, Paul Bearer.
yes.
Very cleverly, choreographed that whole thing by the WWE. But yeah, Ainsley kind of had a little Paul Bearer in him, and he was the first guy I ever saw as a TV evangelist. Did he set the pace? Was he like the Ron Popeil of TV evangelism?
Probably. Osteen's just taking it to like this crazy level.
Oh my God.
Finances. I mean, he owns like compounds and stadiums. And
This guy's not working off a teleprompter, is he? Because if he isn't, it's amazing how he can retain these hour-and-a-half lectures where he goes all over the place. And those teeth, my God, he should pay his dentist a good portion of the amount he's just ripping people off for, because he's capable of. How come these guys are never known to go like pass out $100 bills to some homeless people?
Oh, never.
You never see that, do you?
No, they just collect money. That's the funny thing about the scam is they need your money. It's never about making sure you get money.
We have to be able to get the word out there. I mean, we can't do it without your contribution. So here's the post office box.
There you go.
Yeah. And it was always super over the lecture that the guy was given. Send the money right here at P.O. Box. We drove by the box, didn't we? It was like nothing, but it was stuffed with envelopes.
100%.
When we were in Houston a couple of times.
Like owns Houston.
Yeah. All right. So this happened last night, Louis. It hasn't happened since 1971 was the last time a game ended. A baseball game, Major League Baseball game, ended on a walk-off catcher's interference call.
This
came about as a result of a challenge also, where it appeared that the umpires are going to ring up a guy. There were bases loaded. Bases were loaded, and so was I. That was Leslie Visser's title for her book. Philly is playing the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox had come on before the All-Star break. I don't know. I think they're so since then. Philadelphia in a dogfight with the New York Mets. They were like zigzagging back and forth, a half a game apart. 10th inning, they already had put the guy at second base, but they ended up with bases loaded, and I believe it was 2 away. And the hitter, the guy at the plate, it looks like he checked his swing, but they ring him up for a strike. And then they go back over it, and they realize that the guy's bat had hit the catcher's mitt, catcher's interference, and it forced in the winning run.
You get an automatic base. Oh,
you get first base on it. Yeah, it's just like a
walk. It was full count. It was a walk. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't a walk. It's an actual rule that
catcher's interference like a hit, like at any point in the
and the guy's bat hits the catcher's mitt. Yeah, and it can happen. When I was briefly a catcher in Little League many years ago, it happens once in a while. You get you're gloving away, you put it forward, the guy takes a dip back, and somehow he swings and it tips your glove. Especially painful if he gets you right square in the back of your head. But and happens to hit it hard. In this case, it was barely noticeable. Obviously, the umpire missed it. And then they went to the replay, and that has not happened since 1971. 1971. So you're talking about 29 plus 25, 54 years. That last time it happened, where a game resulted in a win for a team based on a walk-off catcher's interference call. Jesus. And it happened last night. Philadelphia beating Boston 3-2. In that game, Zach Wheeler, this is interesting to me because, I mean, you talk about mistakes that doom a franchise. Now
they're still pitching. That's crazy. Of all those guys,
pitching great.
That's nuts. Of all the
guys. They had like Matt Harvey, they had Noah Syndergaard, they had Jacob deGrom, and they had one other guy that was
Steven Matz.
Oh yeah, Stephen. Good
He was
call.
supposed to be the best of the four, and he never saw the light of day because of injuries.
And what happens? The Mets let Wheeler go,
And Wheeler was there before them.
and he's been like right-handed Steve Carlton for the
Been
Phillies.
the only consistent. Well, DeGrom was great for a bit.
The injuries, though, have
He was always
you would have to say put him behind Wheeler in terms of productivity over the
yes.
last 3 years.
Wheeler's been consistent every single year of his career.
Good, great. I think I saw a stat. He's either one of two guys or the only guy to have struck out 10 or more hitters in 7 games this year. So, I mean, still playing at a high level. That was weird. He was the odd man out. Remember, he was like the 5th guy in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And Syndergaard kind of really tailed off badly after that period of time. Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight, I think Chicks did him in, no?
Yes. The whole thing with the model with him and not Edelman. Was it what Edelman?
Yeah.
Edelman, they were fighting over the girl, and after that, it was never this Adriana Lima, I think, and they were never the same.
Right.
He was never the same after that. Syndergaard, just I think injuries
tore him up too. Yeah.
Matt, same thing, injuries in New York, and then DeGrom was great. He just got hurt every year.
Every year he's out for half the season, a minimum. And Zach Wheeler, turned out to be the best of the best, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like when the Mets had Pulsifer, Isringhausen, and your man from FSU, Paul Wilson, who I thought was going to be brilliant.
All three were disasters.
Wilson looked to me like he was going to be, back then, what Paul Skeens is today.
He was a beast. He was really a beast, and it just never worked in the pros.
And everybody was talking about, whoa, look at this. They got this nucleus of pitching that's going to last a lifetime. And within 2 years, it was just all falling apart at the seams.
Isringhausen became a closer and became great with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But as pitchers, those three never made it.
Wilson and Pulsifer just fizzled out.
Yep.
That was that. You would not have anticipated that. So you just never know.
Yep.
But kind of weird that Zach Wheeler is still like a dominating force.
That's crazy.
And the Mets, what are they doing? They ended up making Clayton Holmes a starter this year. How's he doing? Philadelphia, though, necessary win for them. And they get in a bizarre fashion yesterday as they beat the Boston Red Sox with this catcher's interference call. And in the NBA, I don't know how significant this is. Chris Paul, what does he have left in the tank? This will be his 21st year. Holy LeBron James.
He has nothing left.
Goes to the Clippers to finish out his career.
Okay.
Wants to live in L.A. You're not getting an erection for Shams Charania?
No.
And his reporting on this?
It's fine. That you just look at the team and it's like the old. You talk about the Century Village. It's like every guy's age 30 between 32 and 40.
Yeah. Do they have a good enough team to? The Clippers are always, it's seemingly in the last 5 years or so, maybe longer, with Kawhi Leonard, always overrated by people.
I mean, they added Beal, an old guy who's injured a lot. They added Paul, older guy injured a lot. Already had Harden, old guy injured a lot. Kawhi, old guy injured a lot. Like, it's just a very old team with a lot of injured.
And they got that guy Collins, right, from the Nets.
Yes, Collins, who's I guess young for this team, but not young.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't know. I don't know what they are.
A little significance, you're saying.
It's fine. I mean,
he averaged about 9 points a game last year, and
this is an old guy,
reasonable number of assists. So it wasn't like he completely lost it. Oddly, in the summer league, though, Lubie, none of these guys really played much. Cooper Flagg, what did he play? A couple of games. Dylan Harper was not involved. VJ Edgecombe, I saw him play that first game, a little bit of it anyway, and then after that, I think he played like one more game. Your man Ace Bailey didn't do squat, and the guy that was the big star, believe it or not. The professor must love this. No wonder he doesn't watch. Kyle Filipowski, I think, was the former Duke. What's he? Did he do anything last year in the league? Because
no.
He lit it up. He averaged almost 30 points a game in these summer league games. Kyle Filipowski. Can you believe that?
Yeah, good for him. I don't know.
Tell you how insignificant that is, because this guy's going to average. He averaged 29.3. He'll average 2.93 during that the regular season. But Con Knippel was the guy everybody was raving about. Con Knippel. He
Charlotte
established himself as a force, so he'll probably do very little as a rookie as well. All right, Lubie, we rambled our way through it without really accomplishing anything, but we are excited about tomorrow's beginning and the debut of Mike Lubie Lubitz's Training Camp Chronicles. This is going to be fascinating.
Oh, we did the AFC East already, so now I can move on to better conferences and divisions.
Mind-boggling to think that a team like Miami can't figure out a way to at least be knocking on the door of being what Buffalo is, like 5 years and 3 different approaches into this whole thing with Tua Tagovailoa, which I'm still not sure. I don't know. I mean, does Tua have a big year this year, or is he just going to be another?
I don't know. I really don't know.
The idea that well, you're still searching for your franchise quarterback.
They tried to get offensive linemen on the cheap. Okay.
Yeah, that always works.
Yeah, right.
Remember when Chris Greer was bringing those guys? He was trying to lose every game, and he's bringing in guys from gas stations.
Exactly.
He's stopping at a Shell station in Pembroke Pines. It's like, hey, yo. And he said, no, I don't work here. He said, no, I want you to play for the Dolphins. In fact, we got a game today, 12 o'clock. Come on down. All right, Lubie, always a pleasure. We'll do it again tomorrow. Tony Segredo go old school with us from his digs in Vermont. Always a little bit envious as we're out here in the human blast furnace, although maybe a little bit of rain today might provide some relief. We shall see. For Mike Lubie Lewitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate the input on the chat line as always. And we will see you tomorrow as we leave you know that.
The time?
9:04.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they